guys, and welcome to the Family Fudge. Today's video is all about homeschooling. I'm going to be answering 10 of the most commonly asked questions that I get, like how much do I spend, was I homeschooled, and what my approach is. So stay tuned. I got my cheat sheet here. These questions are actually part of the Homeschool Mom Tag, which was created by Rachel at Day to Day Joys, and I've seen a lot of other homeschool moms do this video. So I'll go ahead and link the playlist down below if you want to check it out. Oh yes, and if you're new here, I have 4 kids. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby. So I've been homeschooling for a few years now, but my oldest is only 7, so I'm definitely not an expert. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed through these questions because we do our homeschooling in the morning, our activities in the afternoon, and all of my YouTube stuff happens after the kids go to bed. So I'm going to speed through these 10 questions so that I can get to bed on time. Question number 1. Were you homeschooled? No, I was not homeschooled. My husband was not homeschooled. We both attended public school. I had a really good experience in public school. I have nothing against public school whatsoever. In fact, if we decided one day that public school would be a better choice for one of our children, we would definitely choose that option. Question number 2. Did you always know that you would homeschool your children? And the answer to that is no. We tried for our first child for 3 years, so we had a long time to think about what our parenting style and approach would be. And when Mackenzie was born, she was just a super bright and intelligent child, and she loved to learn. And so we started with baby sign language and moved on to early reading, and just it came naturally for her and for us to learn together. And that kind of just evolved into our homeschool. Number 3, what are your 3 favorite books in your homeschool library? We have a ton of books in our homeschool library, so I chose 3 that I can show you. Number 1, and it's kind of hard to tell what it is because we lost the dust jacket, but let me see. It is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I like to read a lot of classic books with my kids, and this is one of the first read-alouds that we actually did together. And I really like this book because not only is it fun, and there's a movie to go along with it so you can kind of compare and contrast. I think this is a really fun book, and it also teaches a lot about character traits. If you're familiar with the story, you know the kids that accompany Charlie to the factory, they all have some not so nice character traits. And so when I was reading this with my kids, we were able to talk about things like about being humble, about being greedy, watching too much television, that kind of thing. So this is a great teaching book as well. And then Matilda. Now if Mackenzie was choosing 3 books, this would probably be one of her favorites. A lot of times for our read-alouds in our homeschool, she will actually read them, not me. And this is one of her favorites. And I think this is totally appropriate because she is a lot like Matilda. If you've ever read this book, you'll know what I'm talking about, but yeah, Matilda. And then one type of book that we really like in our homeschool are these National Geographic books, and I think I have all of them. And there's one about bugs, dinosaurs, space. This one is about the world. This one is about famous people in history, and I really like these books. Let me just show you. I really like the pictures, how these books are laid out. They're easy to read for the kids, and I will often find my kids reading these just for fun. They are that interesting. Question number 4, are you the only teacher? Does your spouse help? Do you outsource help? Etc. And no, I'm not the only teacher. I definitely am happy that I'm not the only teacher. My husband is super helpful, super involved. Also, my kids, they do different classes like PE classes, music, dance, things like that. Next question, where is your favorite place to buy homeschool curriculum? Well, number 1, I don't usually buy a lot of homeschool curriculum. I like to get it for free if I can. We belong to a homeschool charter, which is kind of like an umbrella school, and there we have a lending library. So if you're not using materials, you can leave it there for other people to use. And so we find a lot of good things there. We always check there first, but if I'm buying something, I like Amazon, eBay, or thrift books. I buy a lot of our books on thriftbooks.com. And now for the money question. Do you have a set budget for your homeschool? And yes, I definitely do. Like I said before, we are part of a homeschool charter, and it is actually a public school charter run through the state of California. And so there are a lot of requirements associated with that, but one of the perks is that they give us a student budget to use each year. So it's kind of like the money that they would spend on your child if they were to go to a public school. They give us the money and we can decide what to buy with it. Now there are a lot of rules that go along with that, so we can't buy any religious curriculum. Right now, for this year, it had to be curriculum that was Common Core aligned. We can use our student budget to have classes like music classes or dance classes, but the vendors that offered those classes had to be state approved, fingerprinted, background checks, all that stuff. So we have a student budget. There are definitely strings tied to that money. So the student budget this year was $1,800 per student. And Mackenzie, my oldest, she was actually the only one in the charter this year. Next year, Jackson will hopefully be as well. So next year, I'll have $1,800 times 2, and that's gonna be our budget for the year. And while we're talking about budgets, I can say that I like to spend as little as I possibly can on the actual curriculum and spend a majority of it on enrichment classes, music classes, dance classes, extracurricular things. For our curriculum, I like to get things used, free. I like to use things that I've used in the past and things like that. So our budget goes a long way. Next question. What are 2 must-have homeschool supplies? Now in our homeschool, we do kind of a hybrid mishmash system. Sometimes we use textbooks, sometimes we use workbooks, and other times we use online curriculum. So one thing that we have to have is a computer. Now this one's actually made for kids. It's a little bit more rugged and sturdy in construction. So if you drop it, it's not gonna break, shouldn't break. So yeah, we must have a computer so we can do our online school stuff. I like our homeschool to be as portable as possible. So it's fairly easy for me to pack up all the things that we need and go do school somewhere else. I would love to do road school someday. And the next thing that we must have is internet connection. So we have to have our computer and the internet, definitely must-haves. Okay, this next question is kind of a 2-part question. What is my favorite subject to teach and my least favorite subject? I'd say my favorite, it's probably a tie between language arts and social studies. And my least favorite would probably also be a tie between math and spelling. I have my oldest student does not care for math or spelling, so because she doesn't care for them, makes it my least favorite to teach. Question number 9, we are almost done. Are you involved in co-ops, homeschool groups, and what has your experience been? We have actually done all of those things over the years. Co-ops, umbrella schools, charter schools, homeschool groups, all that kind of stuff. I like all of them, but this year we kind of simplified and we kind of just did our own thing. I like the co-ops, but they tend to take up a lot of time, and it's hard because my students will be at a certain level on a subject and others might not be. So we like to get together for the social aspect of these groups, but the majority of the learning takes place here. Okay, last question. What is your homeschool approach? Are you Charlotte Mason, eclectic, classical, etc.? Right now, we are definitely eclectic. When I was first starting out, I read a lot of Charlotte Mason books, TJ Ed, systems, philosophies, all that kind of stuff. But right now we kind of just do a little bit of all of those things. And to be honest, I kind of do a different system per child as well, because what works well for Mackenzie doesn't necessarily work well for Jackson and for Lily. They all have a little bit of a different learning style. So I kind of try to tailor it to the child, what they need and how they learn. So yeah, a little bit of everything. Like I said, I'm definitely not an expert, but so far homeschooling has been great. If you have any specific homeschooling questions that you'd like to ask, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And thank you to Rachel at Day to Day Joys for tagging me in this video. I was also tagged by Michelle at A Common Life, so thank you to both of you for giving me this opportunity. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.